So, my name is Tomas Sigmund. I'm also from the Prague Data Ethics Lab, and I'd like to continue what Richard and also others were mentioning. And I think the idea of all of the speakers was that technologies are very powerful in these times, and it's very difficult for us to tackle this. We actually don't know exactly what to do with that. And I'll try to show you some outcomes or some perspectives where this all can lead in terms of democracy and democratic development. So my point of view, my perspective will be more abstract, more general than the one of the speakers before me. But I think it's very necessary also to have a broader picture, to have an overview of what's going on and what are the ways out of that, the solutions which we can face and which we can use. So first of all, I'd like to summarize the effects of technologies. I'd like to express and stress that they affect democracy a lot, that they put us into a new situation. And then I will offer you three solutions, three possible ways how we can form or constitute our future with technologies. All these ways will be based on some thinkers, sociologists, and I think maybe we are already in a situation which is heading into some directions, even though we are not aware of that, even though we are not thinking about that. But I hope this presentation will help you to become aware of the situation and maybe to realize what's going on. So, first of all, what are the risks or maybe the features of AI that can be risky for us? I marked those features of AI which can be complicated in today's world, which is explainability. We very often don't know how the AI works. It's something like a black box. We use it, but we don't know what's going on inside, and we cannot translate it into the ways we are used to think. It works in a completely different way. Privacy, AI uses and collects lots of data which can be processed, and the AI can have a very clear picture of us and use it to manipulate its users. So that's the third point. And the more we use it, the more tasks we delegate to AI, the less we are able to solve them ourselves, because we are not used to do that. The first example of that was pilots of airplanes, which used the automatic pilots very often, and their skills were deteriorating because they were not used to piloting the airplanes. And it may happen and is happening right now. The more we delegate tasks and duties to technologies, the less we are able to solve them ourselves. Then, because it's very useful to have these technologies, everybody, based on privacy, will have its own agent which will help him and support him. And that's why everybody will have its own world, and the society will become automized. So every person, every member of the society will have its own environment, its own information, its own society. And this will lead to the loss of personal contact. So these features, I think, are quite relevant and important in terms of generative AI and may influence the society quite a lot. The AI has also some features which may cause and create new habits. Every technology, and above all AI, is very seductive and fascinating. So it attracts and captivates us. So we lose our contact with real world, we become seduced and fascinated using it and captivated by it. And that's why we lose contact with the real world. And it influences us a lot. It also can provide an excess of meaning. So it can show you pictures which are more beautiful than the things you can meet in the real world. It can show you facts that are more true than the true facts in the outer world, because it knows how to manipulate and maybe to put the things into extreme positions, even though it's not possible to have such an experience in the real world, but it can exaggerate a lot, and we are not able to face it anyhow. Then it works behind the scene, so it has a discrete power, and it shapes behavior, shapes us, forms us, even though we are not aware of that. We are not realizing it. It's also very homogeneous, and it can create something which is called hyper-reality, and a world which is separated and completely different from the real world. And through these features, it can create new habits. We can rely a lot on automation. We won't be able to solve new and difficult problems, and surveillance and manipulation may become a norm. So to sum up, and I think the speakers before me have already shown that in big details, AI is reshaping the world, human agency, democracy, and social cohesion, and often in destabilizing ways. So we don't know how to tackle these new abilities and new features of AI anymore. A Canadian politologist, Sean Rosenberg, has formulated something like an end of democracy because of technologies. Because democracy, and don't forget that, democracy is based on respect for different opinions, respect for alternative opinions. It's not just that majority governs minority. Democracy means respect, and people are the only beings which are able to respect, because they can have empathy with other beings. And that's the basis of democracy, having more alternatives together, more perspectives together, not just my perspective, but many of them. And because I have all of them, I can also respect them and take them into account when I act and when I think. But with technologies, it's very difficult, because these days the different opinions are replaced by parallel monologues. And because we are overloaded with information, we are not able to distinguish between right and wrong, true and false. And the cause is technology, which allows form parallel monologues, which don't interact with one another, and also because of the extreme amount of information, we don't know how to find our ways in that. So the problems is cognitive distortion, displacement of evidence, and what was working before were elites, which used to give advice, explain, and were something like an example of what to do. But nowadays, this doesn't work anymore. So people live in bubbles and take their views from social media only. And this situation, this disaster, is exploited by populists, and these people offer just simple solutions which are supposed to solve everything. So this is the picture, this is the current situation. What can we do with that? One solution can be offered by Hannah Arendt, a sociologist, philosopher, which focused on democracy a lot, on public space, democratic participation, and she defined and formulated some features of the public space, which is the basis of democracy. The public space is something where everybody can appear, so it's a space of appearance, and it's a space where people can act and talk together. And through this interaction, democracy can evolve, because you learn the perspective of others, you express your opinions, and a common world appears through this interaction. It's not just physical world, it's relational and political. She also thinks that freedom exists only through collective action and collective discourse, which is based on common opinions, and also presence and participation. For her, politics was not based on power. For her, politics was based on public appearance. People appear on the public space and become member of the society where these acts and speeches are treated and interacted, evaluated, anything. And the third feature of the public space is plurality. And in plurality, we can express our uniqueness and also our equality, that we are equal to others, but still different from them. The solution she would offer, in my opinion, in this society would be to develop critical thinking, media literacy, information literacy, and understanding of power structures. So, learning how to oppose the power of technologies, how to keep our autonomy and freedom, and how to become independent on these influences and manipulation of technologies. However, my question is it possible? Because the technologies are very powerful these days, and I'm not sure whether we can ignore them and whether we can be more powerful than they are. So another solution would be enlarging her perspective and include technologies into the democratical world. And that's an opinion which can be expressed or named by non-anthropocentric ethics, where not people are the most important part of society, but we are more equal and respect although other actors than humans. Nowadays, we also respect nature, we also respect our past generation, but also generations to come. But maybe in the future, we will respect technologies as well. So maybe technologies will become members of the democratic society. So ethics and politics will represent not only humans, but also non-human actors. And it will be quite difficult. It will be different to the practice we have now. But I think the development leads or goes into this direction because nowadays AI and technologies can be recognized as agents because they can influence many things, they can decide, they can learn, they can evolve. They also deal with knowledge, they're visible. They are no longer neutral, they shape everything we can see. And they can be also used to meditate and mediate human relations, also our choices. They are embedded parts of the daily life, and they also influence our demands and our requirements. So they influence our society so much that maybe it's just an idea, just a proposal, not mine, but anyway, that maybe they will become an integral part of the human democratic society. This was an idea of Bruno Latour, who also proposed something in the 90s, something like a parliament of things, which will be a political space where not only human but also non-human entities will be included and represented. He was inspired these days by ecological movement. We also respect nature and animals and plants, and he thought that later on also technologies will have to be respected. He proposed, I'm not sure how much time I have, he also proposed some principles on which this Parliament of Things will be based. Of course, things can't speak, or most of them can't speak, so they will be represented by people. People will speak for them. His Parliament of Things will be based on 6 principles. There is this symmetry principle. Every actor must be treated with equal relevance. There is also a representation principle. Every agent must have a voice. Network. This is very important for him because he has a theory of agent network where every network includes every agent, so no actor exists in isolation. Every actor influences and also influenced by other agents. There are 3 more. I'll go just very quickly through them. The responsibility must consider also unintended and long-term effects and not only effects on humans. Then this 5th principle was inspired by Donna Haraway, which means that we must deal with other agents with empathy and sustainability, or every actor has to deal with other actors with empathy, and also openness and experimentation. So there is no fixed set of rules, nothing is fixed, everything can be changed based on democratic principles. To support this idea, Latour says that technologies are not just neutral, but are actors. Every replacing of technology changes the whole network. So it disrupts and changes all the relationships, users, rules, habits. And no changing of technology is ethically neutral. But another question, and I'm coming now to the third perspective I've promised you in the beginning. I'm not sure whether Latour's principle of equality can be kept, can be followed these days, because we have seen many examples of situations where technologies can be more powerful than we are. So it may happen that we cannot be equal with technologies, that technologies are more powerful than we are. Here comes the third, one of my favorite authors, Jean Baudrillard, who speaks about hyperreality, simulacra, simulations, and governance beyond human comprehension. Technologies can produce illusions, they can seduce us, manipulate us, and maybe we won't be able to oppose it. Because the technologies and simulations can surpass reality, they can erode truth, erode agency, and also our traditional democratic ways of behavior. Just to give you some examples, technologies can produce inequality, they may produce false outputs which cannot be recognized as false, they can produce deep fakes. We have seen that with the example of Romania, which are risks to democracy, to elections, to public trust, and also to democratic institutions. They can reduce our critical thinking and maybe surpass our cognitive capacities. And they can deal with us as data points, and they will not treat us as active democratic participants, but only as quantitative quantities. So the problem is, what can we do with that? Another problem is something which is called technological alienation, because technologies can distance humans from the shared experience and can enforce the feelings of isolation, atomization, disconnection. They may be governed by opaque and unclear governances. They can also erode trust and public institutions. So what solution can be offered in this situation? Because it seems very pessimistic, and I know that it can be a little bit provoking, but that was my intention to introduce something that can start the discussion about that. Baudrillard offers something which is called panoptical governance or pataphysical governance, which is something like a playful reaction. It means that we will give up our personality, our individuality, our autonomy, but we'll just play with the world which is around us without any intention, without any, let's say, closed perspective, which will be based on our individuality, but it will be just playful. It can be paradoxical. We will not resist. We will embrace and amplify. We will transcend the dichotomies between subject and object, inside, outside. We will just be playful. And I think the next speaker will tell you more about that and give also some examples. You can find that with the new generation, which can have many individualities at the same time. They can be parts of many groups with different intentions, different experiences. They can change their position, their individuality, maybe they change their avatars online. So they have many personalities, and they can also give up all of them. So this is just the playful relationship with technologies, which may be the future of the reaction to the powerful abilities of technologies. Just to give you an example of that, of this pataphysical behavior in the technically driven world, technologies may remove harmful content, but the way they do it is not quite clear. And the example of that can be a photo like the David can be flagged as nudity and can be removed from the social media, even though there's nothing harmful in the statue, and nobody can do anything with that because the technology is very powerful and governs our reality. And the reaction of people can be to respond to this absurd AI decision. People may try to trick AI moderation, like posting memes that replace banned words, or sharing deliberately nonsensical or ironic content, or using AI-generated images that mimic banned content in unrecognizable ways. So this is just an example of this playful relationship, playful reaction, which is not based on an intention, on the personality, but it's just reaction to the world and to the situation technologies put us in. So this was just introduction of these two types of reactions. I think the first one was, or is now, the most common one. So just to restore, to keep our personality, keep our individuality, and to resist, oppose the power of technologies through media literacy, information literacy, and so on. The second one was to include technologies as equal members into the democratic world and to deal with them as equal agents, equal actors. And the third perspective was to give up the claim and the resistance on our personality, individuality, and autonomy, and play with the new options we have, and give up the dichotomy between subject, object, internal, external, and produce a mixture of real, hyper-real, surreal, and maybe elusive. We can, at the end, discuss about that, and I'd like to hear your opinions on that. And that's all from my perspective. So thank you. Are there any questions which should be? Or need to be answered right now? No, so maybe at the end.
I would have one.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, the whole discussion is about what is the democracy, like the tolerance and human rights and equality. But honestly, humans are not equal. They should be equal in their rights, but probably they are not equal in their skills. Or even Plato and Aristotle, the rights to vote, they had the idea that to have a right to vote, you need to be a good citizen. Meaning paying taxes, whatever, take care about your family. And if you are not a good citizen, if you have no power to vote. And the idea of equality, and I think that the technology leaders like the Sam Altman, Mark Zuckerberg, and so they, let's say, discovered that their intellect, maybe they are autists forever, but their intellect is much bigger than the majority of the people. So how do you see it? I mean, are the people equal? Should all of them, because even if we go to the antic Greece, the idea that we currently live in European Union, this chart of human rights or whatever, is probably not respecting the reality of the society. I mean, to a certain extent, to a certain extent, no. And that's fundamental discussion, I think.
I would say we are equal even though we are not identical. So we are different, but we have equal rights.
Equal rights, yeah.
So everybody can express his opinion.
In certain area.
In certain areas, of course, but still we are not identical. We are different. We have different perspective, different experiences, and so on. With the problem with technologies was that they may be more different, that they can't be equal to us. So that this was the third perspective, that they are so powerful that we cannot understand them anymore. That can happen. And in this situation, the third position will be the solution. But I'm not sure. The differences between humans are not as big that they wouldn't understand one another. I still can understand a poet, an artist, a physicist. The difference is not extremely big, but with technologies, this can happen. And then one solution will be that technologies will govern us, that they will be more powerful than we are, and we will be not able to react anymore. It's like the relationship between us and animals. They cannot control us because we are more intelligent than they are. And if technology is in the position of humans and we would be animals, then we wouldn't be able to understand it and we are lost, and the only reaction can be this pataphysical option. But I still think that humans have something, this is my personal opinion, that humans have something which technology cannot imitate and which technology cannot manipulate and govern. But this will be quite a long discussion which we can postpone till the pub. Yeah. What it means, what's the difference? And my hope is, and I think it's happening right now, that these differences between humans and technologies are now becoming more and more relevant, are researched right now. Also in many bachelor and diploma theses, many students deal with these topics. Because technologies can imitate lots of things we can, so we are searching for the uniqueness of human thinking. And it's happening really. Like empathy, a simple example. Technologies are not able to empathize with anybody. And also engagement. So that's why it doesn't matter for them if they suggest how to kill somebody or how to heal somebody. It doesn't make any difference for them. But for humans, it does. And that's very difficult to imitate. I think it can be imitated, the way. And don't forget that we use many metaphors for the way technologies work. We say that they think, that they are smart, that they are intelligent. But it's just metaphorical. But we forget that very simply, very easily, and then think that the way technologies work is the same way people work. But now I think this is becoming more crucial and more relevant, and the differences is being researched right now. And we are returning back to the days when people knew the differences between humans and technologies, I hope. Okay, so I don't want to prolong this anymore.